And we are back for the second half of the quarterfinals. That was probably the quickest half of quarterfinals I've ever experienced.
Well, that's because you haven't done Iron to Gold.
Yep, that is probably true. But Gravitas securing their spot up against the Dire Cubs, and it's going to be Mprox facing off against ORA Academy for their chance to fight against Mammoth, which is certainly a tough ask, I think. Securing the top seed coming into this one by straight to the semi-finals, but see who is going to match up against them next week here now.
Yeah, I mean, really, no matter who wins this, there are arguments you could make. Hey, maybe they might pull off against that Mammoth. I know for Order, if you want to talk about a team that has had an amazing turnaround to even get where they are,
yeah,
starting
100%.
the split, I think they were 0-4, and then they were 1-5, and now they're sitting in that 5th seed. It's actually been quite impressive with them. They've really turned everything around, so kudos to those boys from Monash.
That's actually like really true. You mentioned it. Like 80% of their wins are in like the back half of the season, like starting it disastrously. They did change out somewhat of their bottom lane. You know what I mean? Like bringing in another player. They're bringing in Harry over Mog, and a couple of changes here and there with like Series stepping in, stepping out. Didn't have Vans for a couple of weeks, but yeah, turning that one around. End of the season, huge.
Yeah, Harry, definitely. I'm glad you bring him up because he has been such a playmaker for this team. We saw that for sure during the tiebreaker as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's definitely someone to watch, but Mprox, on the other hand, sort of fell off a bit at the end of the split. But if you've been following their Twitter, you know they've been boot camping pretty hard for this one, and I'm not sure how many of these teams actually have thrown that level of commitment, and I'm excited to see whether or not it pays off.
Because I think that does change things, right? Like if we're just looking at the game we just saw, like the one key member that I think like changed a lot for Gravitas was ML in the bottom side. He went overseas, was like playing in like a international tournament in China. Then the same sort of thing for Mprox. Like I can say from experience the difference between like practicing all at home, like online sort of thing, and just like being in the same environment, like boot camping at like a net cafe, like an environment, yada yada. You change things up, the environment change significantly like skews how you view the game, like the seriousness of together. So like boot camping before quarterfinal, before semi-final can actually be super impactful. Because I was saying to you, like recency bias, like Order look good.
Yes.
We haven't seen Mprox for another week. Like they didn't play in the tiebreakers coming through. They had the seed through into the quarterfinals, but Order have looked good recency. Good recently. Is this sort of like boot camp enough to get Mprox over the line here?
Yeah, I'm excited. Again, excited to see how they actually look coming into this one. And again, when you look at that last game, it's more evidence, well, maybe Order probably takes this because Legacy, we hadn't seen them in a couple weeks. They came through, and it looked like you hadn't seen them in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it could go like one or two ways, right? You're looking at it, it's like, man, tiebreaker teams, they're absolutely popping off. But who knows? We're going to get into it. 0-0 right now, something I've heard many times over the course of my career. So we'll see who is going to take the lead in this series here. Order Academy versus Mprox starting up. A couple, as we kind of take a look at the bands, like a couple of the key matchups I want to mention. For Order, JLKC and Harry specifically for me, like the mid matchup, the support matchup, is super important for them. They are a catalyst for a bunch of the good things that happen. And then on the other side of the coin, you can look towards the bottom lane, like Artek into Harry, that's a key matchup, but Mboma has carried his fair share of games here for Mprox. So a couple of star players here and there. We'll see how they face off here in the quarterfinals.
Another thing I'm finding interesting besides these matchups, though, is Mprox electing to take the red side to start. In the press game, we saw both Legacy and Gravitas chose blue. Mprox choosing red. I'm very curious by this one. I think red side, honestly, is stronger, in my silver opinion. But, I'm curious if this actually pays off for them, and maybe this is one of the results of their boot camp.
Yeah, potentially. Don't know how recently the decision was made, but this is going to be a very different pick and ban phase already. This is like a much more meta sort of read. Both of these teams coming in, not banning anything too targeted. We saw Kled last week from Order. They're going to ban it on blue side. Maybe they're not willing to go in for like a first pick or anything, but it's going to be the second Silas first pick game of the day. Last time we saw it was not successful, but Order hoping to turn that win rate around.
Yeah, it wasn't successful, but it was still strong in that matchup. So I definitely don't discredit Order at all for putting priority onto the Silas. It really comes down to how Mprox react to the pick right now. Taking their time with this one. They're going to play it safe with the Kai'Sa initially.
Yeah, big champion between the 280 carries. Both of them are big Kai'Sa players. Taking that one away from Seaway, whilst locking it in for Mboma. Probably a good decision. I think champions that are going to be super highly valued in this series, stuff like Nautilus, both of these supports are like big Thresh, Pike, Nautilus, Hook champ sort of players. So getting things happening early with the aggression on the bottom side is going to be Very important to watch. Mind you, that was not a support lock-in. That's just the straight-up Aatrox solo lane here for Emprox.
Yep. Two solo laners kind of taken blind at the moment. Each, side feeling confident with their picks. Sivir will get locked in. Yuumi is available. I know it's not the most popular thing, but Sivir Yuumi could be making a return. Oh.
No
Hello.
way.
Ah.
Absolutely no way.
Playing
Akali,
with my heart.
Azir, both very reasonable options. Yasuo, also a reasonable option. They have locked in the Sylas already, but when you lock in something like a Sylas, this is of course going to be like a solo lane now, and patch 9.14 got changed out of the jungle, so if that was to be a Yasuo, I would expect maybe some Gragas bans to be thrown towards them, but it's going to be the Thresh, so Gauntlet has been thrown here towards Artek. Curious to see what the response is going to be.
I mean, we could still see that Pyke response.
Yeah, Pyke, Nautilus, like both, like decent matchups.
Pyke is going to be the initial hover right now, and it will get locked in.
Okay. So last time I saw a Pyke picked in the OCS tiebreakers, there was like a disgusting Blitzcrank Pyke level 1, just like disaster of a bot lane matchup. Kills going left, right, and center. That was in the hands of Harry. It is going to be flipped here, but this is certainly something spicy. Not too creative in the AD carry position, but being able to get things done early with a Pyke lane, with a Thresh lane, is super important. And neither team, remember, has locked in their jungler, so in terms of early pressure, the options are certainly wide open for both ORA and Emprox.
If you're going to see the cheese once again of the Pyke Blitzcrank, really the only place remaining for Blitz to go would be that jungle. It's not happening. It's not happening. No.
Blitz jungle? I don't think I've ever seen Blitz jungle.
You've never seen it?
I don't think I've ever seen
We
Blitz
really
jungle.
live in just two different worlds, so
Yeah. That sounds... I don't want to see Blitz jungle.
Fair enough. Righteous Glory Blitz jungle.
Yeah.
There's nothing scarier than a robot with like sparks flying off it, coming flying out of the jungle, beelining towards your AD carry.
But you could also just do that from the support position.
True.
And not be useless.
Yeah, but they already have Thresh, and they already have Pyke.
That is true.
So, no, but we won't be seeing Blitz jungle. We won't be seeing Kiana, Sejuani, Azir, or LeBlanc either.
Kiana priority hasn't been super high, given that there was a lot of talk before this patch hit competitive. Everybody's like, man, this champion is just straight up busted. And has now on live 9.15 received a couple of waves of nerfs, but isn't seeing the most priority here in the OCS. Not really picked up by many teams. It doesn't see a lot of bans, so the presence isn't super high. That's going to be a Rek'Sai locked in. Elise, I don't think would be the best answer here from Uni. Is a big Lee Sin player, but that once again into the Rek'Sai, not the greatest. Maybe does just go back towards the Elise. Yeah,
I think they might go ahead and commit to said Elise. So, all right, it might be a tough matchup for them, but if they can pull ahead.
Yeah, I actually think I'm going back on that immediately. Like, Lee Sin out of the two is the hard matchup, and then Elise into Rek'Sai. Like, you get to like buffer your cocoon through his knockup. Like, if he very easily, like if he tunnels in your direction, like you literally cannot miss. You get to land your whole combo. You can then look to like repel his knockup. So I think it is fine there for Uni, and has shown himself to be like an early game jungler. He is the catalyst of a lot of the success here. It's going to be a Karma lock-in as well. This is pre-significant nerfs, right? She did receive the move speed changes, the extra little CD, and the damage bonus, but hasn't been stripped as of yet. And another last pick, Cassio, to round out the draft.
Yeah, and Cassio's looked very strong in game number 1 today, so Emprox riding on that Cassio train. I was very curious what matchups Order are going to like throw down, because really the Karma and the Sylas, I feel, can go either way in terms of mid or top, so they're going to be able to pick the matchups that they want, and it looks like they're going to put JLKC onto the Sylas. To me, that makes sense, considering how much of carry he has been for the squad.
I think these matchups, like in isolation, just make the most sense. If you think about a Karma and dealing with an Aatrox, like the ability to just like shield yourself and dodge out, like all of his damage, all of his skirmish potential and trading potential is in skill shots that are dodgeable, and this was like where the pick sort of was created. Into the Aatrox topside makes a lot of sense. And then when you have an Elise, having CC into a Cassio lane that is instant, like the change from the Sylas, that just makes sense, right? So the Cassio answer, this is in exactly the same matchup that we saw Hot Chelly play earlier on in the day. They were able to run away with that game. And here they're looking to do a similar sort of thing in the hands of Lived.
Yeah, because again, while it is good for the Karma into the Aatrox, I do worry Sylas will struggle into the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, in isolation, 100%.
Yeah. Because, I mean, and we've already seen it, right? So really, that's just going to be putting more pressure onto the jungle in this one. But coming out of these picks and bans, I'm feel as if, as you mentioned at the very start, like it was looking like we're going to be going more towards what we may expect out of the meta, and I feel that carried through. Not a lot of, spiciness really on either side.
Yeah, no, not really. Like they're both of these teams opt in for like the more aggressive side of the meta. There's a lot of people that are like playing the Lux, playing the Tahm Kench. Like we saw a Tahm Sona lane to start off the day, and it is just like a straight up Thresh into Pyke sort of matchup. But yeah, nobody really like throwing too many target bans. This is much more of a standard game. Of course, we are into a little bit of a pause before we start off this one once again. First game for these series just seemed to be pause central, but last time, it was literally a minute. I think it's not going to be that bad.
Nah.
We're chilling.
I'm happy to relax and mentally prepare ourselves for this game. Hopefully, it will be a bit more standard, a bit more controlled. I know that last series we saw, it was very chaotic from the word go in really both of those games.
Yeah.
We saw 2 very early first bloods. If either of these teams are going to look for that early first blood, I'm more inclined to think Order might go for it based on sort of what they've done in the past.
Yeah.
But even then, they kind of stopped going for some of those cheese level 1 strats, I feel, as the OCS kind of progressed and they started taking things a bit more seriously, started winning, realizing, oh, we might actually be able to go far in this. They've been playing more and more conventional since then. So I'm putting the likelihood of a 3rd level 1 first blood in a row quite low.
Pretty low?
Pretty low.
Yeah, it's nothing like a Braum Nautilus level 1, just like Face Checker Jungle. Pause is still ongoing, so we'll let you know when we have any sort of update as to what's happening, but... Right now, I'm as clueless as you are sitting at home. But yeah, you kind of mentioned it. Like, there was that time where it was like pre-support switch out here for Order, like pre-bottom lane. They were playing like Talia. They were playing like Talia Pantheon kill lanes, and it has got significantly less like experimental, I expect, with the addition of Harry into the lineup, but still aggression nonetheless. And you kind of mentioned like you expect Order to be like more proactive. I would agree. Like Rek'Sai, they lock in the Elise. You have like Lantern gank at the bottom side, like Flash Flay into Lance and bringing in Elise. Even if you flash, if you think about it, the amount of gap that you can close. You have like Thresh Flash, you have Lantern range, and then wherever you bring Elise to, she has like repel range on top of that. Like there's literally no getting away from like anything that they want to start on the bottom side. So that could be a big thing here for Order Academy.
Yeah, I definitely do expect Order to be more aggressive out of the 2 early. Again, whether or not it's level 1, that's another story entirely. It really is amazing how far Order has come from that team that, were running the 4 teleport strats and like the Talia in odd places.
It's also like, if you just look at week 11, right? It's like a best of 1 season, 12 teams, so there's 11 weeks of play. Emprox like smacked them in week 1, and that is the last time these 2 teams have played on stage, like literally week 1 of the OCS, like 13, 14 weeks ago. And then in week 11, Order barely get this victory over Chiefs. I think it was off the back end of like JLKC. And then they turn around this game, barely get themselves into tiebreakers, smash through tiebreakers, and onto the quarterfinals, I should say, trying to get a berth at the semifinals. So, yeah, this is 100% like Emprox, the tried and true like team. I've said it multiple times throughout the split, and I think they do still like hold true to that theme of they are a team that is just greater than the sum of their parts. And then Order are really like this like dirty team that, like, you know what I mean? Like JLKC 1v9 like Vladimir LeBlanc performances, like that's got them over the line like many, many times, right? They have like one-man pop-off games, but it's just kind of from all over the place, where the Vans is like getting GP on the top side, where the Uni's playing like mega aggressive, or it's like Seaway, it's JLKC that's popping off in the backlines. It is really like who is it going to be today, and is it enough to like get the victory over like a cohesive team versus Emperor?
Exactly, and typically this is when, those sort of solo carry type teams struggle, when they go up against the strong unified front of a complete team. Emprox, I believe they are still, they had 1 sub once in the entirety of the OCS, but like for every other team, they've had like some significant roster changes, sometimes small roster changes. This has been the same 5 that we saw.
One of the most consistent. Yeah.
If not, I think they are the most consistent, because this is the lineup that we saw from them on week 1, and they are still all here together now.
Who else had? Maybe Dire Cubs? Well, they had Kweku, and then they had Sharp. Legacy has swapped out from like Mugi and stuff, and then Mammoth, they lost Miasma. I think they had somebody else playing for Redems on the top side. So, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe genuinely the most consistent roster like over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Probably helps.
It
helps to be playing with the same 4 people every game. Just rocking up, being like, I know who my teammates are. That's a good time.
So this is, like in the biggest sense of the word, like this is the team. This is Emprox. They've been with each other since day 1, and they're, in my opinion, in that sense, they're the best equipped to handle that sort of like, we need to rely on someone to pop off. Well, who are you going to pop off against? Because this is a team that could probably absorb that pop-off pressure and then throw it back in spades.
Yeah, I also think it's also like the one thing that we don't really talk about too much in the OCS is like where all the teams come from, right? Like we have 8 teams attached to the OPL. Like every OPL team has their B roster in the OCS, and like obviously depending on what team, like how much interaction is there between like the A team, the B team, how much like changing between the two. When you look at like the Dire Wolves, the Dire Cubs, there has been the flexibility. Like all of those guys used to play on the main roster. Corporal has already had a stint up in the OPL. You can think of other names like Isles played for AV when he plays for Mammoth Academy, but Emprox are just like the solo org, right? Like not attached to a university, not like an education system, not attached to like an OPL team. They're just straight up like, we are Emprox, like this is it. And yeah, getting themselves like 5 key players, consistent roster that has been just working together, as you mentioned, like over the course of the split. And they're just making it work, right? Like it's just like grindy games. Like it's just like the system. Like we have our coach, we have our 5 players, like we want to learn collectively. And there's none of that like grasping at like, oh, we have access to like OPL players that are in a gaming house. They're just doing the grind, and they're making it work.
They are making it work, and as mentioned before, they set up that boot camp for these playoffs, so they kind of had a semi-gaming house experience, I would like to imagine, through all that. So definitely coming through. This is, you know, another beast entirely, though, because now we're in these best-of series. And I want to ask you, actually, because I'm assuming for a lot of these players, this is their first best-of series with any significance. How did you find yourself when you were going into your first ones in these?
My first one? I actually don't know. That's an interesting question. I think, like, I will, like, hedge by saying, like, these guys, a lot of the players in the top teams in the OCS this split, like, have played in playoffs for, like, OCS previously, right? So, like, for some guys, it would be their first stint. But, yeah, it does change the dynamics. Like, my answer is skewed because I didn't exist my first time in, like, a league setting, right? And I don't mean league as in, like, League of Legends. I mean league as in, like, a season. It was just, oh, I want to play, like, what was professional League of Legends back then. I just got asked, hey, do you want to be on my team? And I was like, yeah, bro, that sounds sick. And then you just, like, rock up to a tournament. So it was, like, kind of all best of 5-ish, which is a bit different. When you have, like, 11 weeks of regular season play, it does kind of change the dynamic somewhat. But I like best of series. Like, as a player, they are more exciting because they mean more, right? Like, you have the feel of, like I don't remember. I'm actually, personally, super, like, I have an awful League of Legends memory. Like, I've literally, in my career, like, I've played, back when OPL used to be, like, best of 3, I play, like, a best of 3, it'll go to 3 games. And I just didn't know what happened game number 1. Like I get interviewed like after the game is finished, and I'm like, oh yeah, game number 1 was rough, and I was like, oh, like to the journalist, like what happened? Like, can you tell? Like, can you remind me? Like, I don't know what's going on. But it just like you really buy in to what is like the feeling of the series, right? Like it's not so much about like, oh man, like, oh, I played so well on this, blah blah blah. Because immediately as soon as you finish the game, it's just like it doesn't matter. Like on to the next game, like you have that immediate climb, that immediate goal of like, okay, we've done this. What is the next step? Regardless of if you like have lost, if you've won, like it's always just bring it back to equilibrium, and then make the next step. And it's super different than like league play, best of 1, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's definitely would be, and I'm very curious to see, you know, if these players have that same sort of mentality though, because a lot of them are young. A lot of them are maybe a bit more inexperienced. I mean, with ORA Academy, they're all, you know, uni kids. So this is a real step up for them. Do they have that same mental you did as someone who did go professional and, like, very successful professionally, and this is what they want to do?
Yeah.
I'm excited if they can adopt that same mindset. Yeah.
Well, maybe under the tutelage of series, you know, OPL, ex-pro player, has played many games in the OCS this series. And look, I reckon series has had some very rough performances. It was a cheeky Vayne game that I'm thinking about, but then he also got themselves through the tiebreakers with the Clegg game. But we're actually going to have to throw to a 2-minute break, I believe, to figure out what's going on behind the scenes. Just going to be a little quickie, but we'll be back just after this. Okay, and now Max.
Yes.
When you get towards the end of a season, the pressure starts ramping up. You know, you're into the quarterfinals. It's a best of 3. 2 losses immediately, as you saw with Legacy in the game before. Completely out of the tournament. There goes your season. And yeah, the games kind of do go up in gravity. They go up in pressure. And as such, you expect them to get closer and closer. But this one, I don't think it's going to be that. So we've got ourselves in a bit of an interesting scenario.
Interesting situation.
Full disclosure, I don't think this happens very often. You get the completely behind-the-scenes rundown of what is going on. So Mprox currently boot camping, I believe at Net Cafe, Legend. I don't know. I haven't been there before. I've played some other ones in Sydney. But yes, and one of their PCs is having a DirectX issue. And now I don't actually technically know what that means, but I know that means that you cannot play League of Legends. Which is super suck. That's a bad time. Which means...
I mean, that's the first thing you need if you want to be playing League of Legends, is the ability to play League of Legends.
So their support is gone. Bootcamping playing at a Net Cafe and restarting for like the people that don't know behind the scenes, you have to play competitive games in a completely different realm. You can't just rock up and have League of Legends installed. You need the tournament realm. And to restart his PC Cafe PC means he has to completely re-download the tournament realm. Which obviously is going to take a lot of time, and they're going to FF the match. So we're in a weird situation
where we don't want to FF the match.
Instead of just FFing the match, we're going to have a 4v5 game of League of Legends.
Yeah, we're going to play a 4v5. We're going to do it. We are going to go into a game. Mprox is going to be playing a man down, and they are going to compete as if they were fully there, ready to go, and they're going to give it that good old college try.
When I woke up today, I did not expect to walk into the Riot Games Oceania studio and cast a semi-professional 4v5 game of League of Legends.
Yeah, like...
So, this... also, it's Artec, by the way, so if you want to flame someone, flame Artec. This is... extraneous circumstances that he definitely wouldn't wanted to be in.
Can you read that? I'm just saying, send Artec's computers your thoughts and prayers. I'm trying to get that up there. That's what I was writing down. It needs it.
That is... what the hell? That's actually... This is just whack. Okay. So Order are feeling pretty good. Actually, no, I reckon they hate it. You know what I mean? You don't want to get to quarterfinals and beat someone down a member. But also, I don't know how this works, because, like... Who is Artec? So we've gone through draft, of course. We went through draft before, and then had the pause at the top of that one. We're just waiting to get into game. So that one is completed. So he can open the client, obviously, do draft fine, and then his game doesn't start. So he's like, crap. Everybody else has loaded in, and he's probably just sitting there staring at a black screen.
Yeah, it's not going to be... It's going to be interesting right now. As we're seeing, actually, it looks like, everyone from Order is there. It is Mprox who is going to be struggling in this one. You can see items are built on everyone.
He's in the middle of the fountain, and that's how you know somebody hasn't connected. He doesn't spawn on the spawning platform. He spawns in the center. What on earth? So, Mboma is going to have the worst lane of his life.
Yeah, this is... But just think if Mprox can win this. Just think if they can pull off that 4v5 miracle upset of a game.
No way.
I don't think it's happening either. Not into a Thresh Shivered lane.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be bad times for Mboma and Mprox, but you never know. This is what they're when you boot camp, you have to prepare for any situation, right? I'm sure in your boot camps you practiced the 4v5.
I have never practiced a 4v5 game of League of Legends in my goddamn life. So, Mboma probably wishes he did, though. No support. He doesn't have TP, which does suck. Of course, this decision was made after Champions League was completed. I expect if you're going to solo lane Kai'Sa, like, you're not winning lane anyway, heal will dissuade some dive potential, but I reckon TP is probably the optimal summoner choice. Doesn't have that luxury here as... Oh, we are opting in for a little bit of a lane swap. For actual League of Legends analysis, we mentioned the Karma would want to be into the Aatrox, but Mprox pulling a sneaky one 1 minute into the game. Going to turn this one around.
Yeah, they're going to give it a bit of a switch. I'm a bit surprised by this one as well. If there's anyone who I think they'd be moving around, I almost think it would actually be Mboma onto the Kai'Sa. Maybe get the Kai'Sa into a solo lane and throw...
Like Cassio bot?
Or the Aatrox bot.
Yeah, I reckon Cassio would probably fare the best. Right? Like in terms of, especially once you get to level 6, would be quite nice. But
Already some heavy trades going Berserker's way right now. Order, they can't just straight up assume, okay, free win. Like, they do need to play somewhat carefully, somewhat reserved. All they have to do is play conservative game, and they do win this one. But
yeah, like win by default.
Exactly, but JLKC is opting into these trades, and a lot of damage going both ways in the mid lane already.
Yeah, getting smacked there. Conqueror does a little bit more damage than the Aftershock is able to dissuade there, so Berserker certainly got the better end of this one, and this is going to be Mboma's life. Luckily, he's not being zoned out of XP range, but this wave pushing towards his enemies. I expect what has happened is he walked up and had to use his Q to farm, which meant the wave has been pushed. So this is not one of those situations where the opponent DCs in solo queue, and you're a nice guy, like, hey, just farm the lane, we'll wait for him to get back. Yeah. Artek can get back. If he loads into this game, I believe he is allowed to play. And they're probably, like, behind the scenes, I have no insight, but they will be desperately trying to connect to this one. This is actually genuinely for all the marbles, and he isn't being able to play right now. But, yeah, Mboma's lane slowly pushing into the enemies. Not a good situation. As
Lived is actually the first one who's going to be targeted with the gank. Uni made his way there, does not connect with the Cocoon, but the root from Vans holds him in place. Lived survives, though, able to barely sneak away.
Yeah, but the skin of his teeth right now. Pots are ticking. Oh! How is Harry so low? And Mboma with a 1 versus 2 actually bops him in the head there as we were looking at the top gank, and yeah.
I mean, you do have those early level advantages, right? So Mboma might be hitting that power spike quite early into this one. I don't imagine we'll be seeing the tier build. I think that's a little too risky in the 4v5.
Well, maybe it's one of those things where, like, you're not doing damage early anyway. So, like, just go tier. If you're going to have to QW farm on Kai'Sa, maybe it's optimal. I'm not sure.
Oh, Berserker could be in a bit of trouble right now. JLKC is not able to connect with the chains, but Uni's making his way down. A lot of damage thrown onto the Silas means that it's risky for JLKC to continue in this one. Uni doing what he can, not going to find the kill, but they do stick with it. Paladin has actually made his way up the river, looking to possibly turn this one around. Uni is quite low in spider form, but is held in place. Here comes the repel. Where will the spider fall? A flash is not enough to save him. First blood goes to the 4.
And in a 4 versus 5, they start the game off with a win there. Elise misses Cocoon, repels late on the knockup. That's just a disaster.
Mboma, though, feeling the pressure of the 4v5, trying to turn around. Teleport coming through. Mboma trying to buy time. Gets the kill. Teleport's coming in. It's Berserker, but now he's going to try and turn around at 2v2. Paladin is there, knocking up JLKC as the damage is thrown back down onto the Silas. Aftershock doesn't do too much, but the health bars are too low on the side of Mprox. A defensive flash is followed up by CY. He has the autos. 1 or 2 more can bring Paladin down, so the Rex side falls. Advantage Order.
And to make matters worse,
they got one at the end, so it's actually 3 kills for Order.
Okay. We have a friend. Prince of Persia is back on the map, got himself a Chroma pack, and Mboma genuinely, before the TPs landed, he traded 1 for 1 and a 2 versus 1. Harry goes forward, maybe a case of just knowing the lane is so far in his favor, he's sitting in such a good position and wanting to just flex on his opponent, goes way too aggressive and ultimately actually got punished there. So we're able to turn this one around, and now actually a reasonable start to this one. The 2 kills do go to the Sivir, which makes this difficult. You saw in the mid lane as well, Berserker was able to turn that one around, but now Summoner's burnt kind of all over the place. And catch-up mechanics going to be in there for Artek.
They will be, as Lived is able to get a flash out of Vans in the 1v1. So a huge advantage right there taken by Mprox. Artek's back in this game, so this actually becomes a real match again as the aggressive play straight out the bat from Mprox. The damage from this level 5 Mboma is enough to pick up a kill.
What is going on? Artek comes back, lands a cheeky hook, and it's a 0-2 Thresh start for Harry. This is
not a good situation. Oh, the hook just missing CY. The spell shield was up, so not much would have come from it. But Mprox, they're content to go. It doesn't matter that Artek wasn't there for the first 5 minutes. They want to fight again.
He has no spell shield.
Yeah, Artek stepping aggressively. Will the hook hit? No. Misses it this time.
Hooks for the Juke. Doesn't find the Juke. That means that Seaway is ultimately okay. Has himself a blue buff as well. So farming with the QW, you can just spam abilities left, right, and center and be ultimately okay. Potential 2 versus 2 in the mid lane once again. Elise and Rek'Sai are here, but you can see Lived rotating down from the top side of the map. This could.
Yeah, JLK sees the target. Good little dodge from the knock-up as back in bot lane, Harry's in trouble yet again. And Mboma is going to help take the kill. It actually goes over to Artek.
Literally reconnects, immediately hooks Harry, and then does it on respawn again. This is disastrous for Order's bottom side. Yes, the CS lead is there. You expect that. Paladin may be in behind Vans here, though.
No
flash for the Karma.
Yeah, no flash available. Paladin content to buy time, has the control ward, so Vans does not see this one coming.
Oh, misses.
The knock-up does not connect, so Vans will be okay this time.
Yeah, barely gets away with his life. Probably should have died in that situation, but unfortunate there from Paladin. Not able to find the knock-up. Means no Hail of Blades proc, and that could have been a knock-up into Miasma, into ulti, and the flash for the Cassio would have meant that kill secured, but not quite going to find its mark, and Vans is ultimately just able to walk away with his life.
So Order, though, throughout all the attention being put on that top side, they're going to turn things around, collect themselves that first Ocean Drake, kind of stop the bleeding. I mean, at this stage of the game, considering it's a 4v5 for the first 5 minutes, you would expect Order to have a much larger lead, but looking at the gold, it's actually quite even.
Yeah, right? Like, there's an okay lead for the AD carry position, but the fact that Pyke reconnects, finds 2 kills, messes up a ward, that's a bit of a yikes, but he's actually has more gold than Harry.
Yeah, more gold in the same level. It's as if Arctic wasn't gone at all.
That's gross. that is... That's not the goods. That's just genuinely not the goods.
I mean, if you're...
He has Mobies. He's fine. He's actually Optimum Pyke situation. Has a kill, has an assist. Yeah, get to level 6, start running a ruckus all over the map, but this is a Mobies Pyke that's already unleashed onto the map with Mobies. Doesn't realistically need the upgraded Targons too much, given how this lane is going. Like, 2v2 fights, not really going to be forced by the opponents here.
Hook will not connect. CY not willing to step forward into that bush. Order kind of have the sense that something might be happening in this bot lane. A lot of time spent there by Paladin, but they're not going to commit this time around. I mean, this is why catch-up mechanics, I suppose, exist, right? To allow supports to get back into these games.
I've never talked about, like, the catch-up mechanics for laners. Normally it's like, man, my jungler is getting boomed, but there was that meta where like you farm 4 camps and then you're even level, and junglers everywhere are just like, my early game means nothing. Like, what's the point? Let me just pick Sejuani and farm. But Artek is now probably almost higher XP, right? They're both level 5, but if they get to push in, he could very well ding level 6 first. And he's just absolutely chilling. This is a wild game of League of Legends.
This is wild, as Liv is actually in a lot of trouble right now from JLKC. Has to flash defensively, will escape. Yeah. As that was going on, Scuttlebug was actually stolen away there by Berserker from Uni, who had Smite available. As more pressure at the spot side, Death Sentence misses.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
it's just so funny. Oh,
no.
Seaway.
Yeah.
Gets punished. That was a shutdown as well, right? Because he got the extra couple of kills early game and walks back. Now Harry stuck between his turret.
Arctic took a tower shot, is actually quite low, dropped the hill to stay alive, and Harry should go down, kill secured by Mboma.
Yeah, Rek'Sai ulti drops the turret aggro as well, so ultimately okay, and a 0-4 start to the game for Thresh is absolutely disastrous. The thing that happened towards top side, you see, as the observer kind of switches the matchups. They went for the early reset and they just flipped their lanes. You see that Vans desperately wanted to lane into the Karma. Silas wanted access to the Cassio. And as soon as he went topside, right, JLKC looks at Lived and then forces the flash immediately. So by all intents and purposes, like Order's top side of the map is in a fine situation. Forcing Cassio flash, now they've got the matchups that they want. And you probably see this kind of game with all of the solo laners, like opting in for very quick recalls, like touch away, push it in, recall, and then find the matchup that I want. That ward that just showed the Cassio leaving lane, super impactful. Now you see Karma pushes in mid, goes for the reset, and they can once again find the matchups they want. So Order, top side of the map, very good situation, like playing very well around it, but this bottom side is just going from bad to worse. It's first completed item already here. Manamune online for the Kai'Sa, and look, Harry, he's having a bad game.
I mean, it's 4 kills on a Kai'Sa who was solo lane for 5 minutes as Liv, good petrifying case, stops some of the attack, but the Cocoon from Uni will hold him in place and secure the kill. Great roam from Order.
Yeah, first CC dodged, second one able to connect there. Uni flash Cocoon locks him down. Harry gets into the play.
CY has to drop the ultimate.
Ooh, no spell shield.
A threat of the dive right now. Arctic is just stepping forward, but no minion wave means they might back off.
And you can see the game they were playing. They didn't actually want to dive, but we're looking to maybe force a summoner. If you can scare Seaway underneath his turret, you're expecting flash away from a hook or something, but Emprox don't pull the trigger. Hook ultimately misses, and probably absolutely okay. You see the matchup kind of playing out right in front of your eyes. Vans Dissuades a bunch of that damage. This is the gank in the mid lane.
Yeah, gank in the mid lane. JLKC is able to turn that damage back around. A good flash from Paladin's not enough to save him. JLKC with the solo kill.
Yep, level 7 jungler versus level 10 solo laner.
Flashing forward. Van's in a lot of trouble. Shouldn't be able to run away, so good kill right back for Emprox.
Yeah, such a scrappy game here. Kills traded a piece across the board. Gold lead sitting at 400. Negligible at this point in time. Yes, Dragon to order. They picked up the Ocean earlier before the reconnect happened.
Oh,
That's a hook.
Yeah, hook for hook right there. Artek quite low, but it's still playing quite aggressive. You have the roam from JLKC, though, trying to make his way down. Not going to commit for it, though. Emprox did suss it out, and they'll back up for now.
Yeah, and you heard the audio cue as well. Happened off screen, but that was a solo take of the Rift Herald. So Order securing the objectives, despite kills not necessarily going their way, but...
Oh, lived in a bit of trouble, but it's a 2v1 situation. JLKC will go down. Hey. Well, there's kills across the map right there. Action happening on the bot lane as well. Arctic and Harry, both supports fell amidst all of that.
Yeah, this is... this is actually wild. Like...
This is quarterfinals.
No, like, genuinely, like, think about what happens. Because, like, this is a competitive game of League of Legends, but because of the reconnect, has skewed the game so massively. Emprox are in this situation, like, we just want to buy time. Eventually, maybe he'll come back. They're literally, in real life, sitting next to the guy trying to reconnect to the game, right? And then Order fall victim to the we want to press on too early. Like, Harry is looking to make stuff happen way too aggressive than he should have been when they do win by default. And it has somewhat devolved into this super scrappy fight. It's kills all over the place. Bottom lane just trading back and forth. 3-1 Siva versus a 5-1 Kai'Sa, top side of the map. Depending on the matchups that are being taken here, if it's Sylas into the Aatrox or into the Cassio, things are just skewing ever so heavily. And
yeah, the amount of flips that's been happening with this mid and top lane, like once again, we're looking at Lived in the mid lane. Last time he was up top, they're just flipping it everywhere. And Harry is able to dodge the hook, but can he escape the pressure from Artek and Liv? Lanter's coming down, a teleport as well. They're going to turn this around. Death Sentence connecting onto Artek, who could be in a lot of trouble as JLKC arrives. Kill will be secure.
Yep. Hook misses, E misses. A very easy turnaround from Order. The TP gets themselves onto the map. 14 minutes was just passed, so no plates to be taken, but that turret will be incredibly squishy. Rek'Sai rotating from topside, but this could just be a 2 versus 1. TP is going to equalize the numbers.
Yeah, and Order wants no part of this and will look to walk away. Another teleport. They're trying to catch Uni, perhaps, out of position. Berserker is a little damaged, but it doesn't matter. Uni quite low. On the other side, Paladin and JKC were at each other's throat as Uni goes down. Great Petrify engage, stops the engage.
Yeah, turns that one around. Jungler dies, misses another Cocoon on the Elise, so unfortunate start to that play there, and will lose his life for it. Turret survives with a sliver of HP right now. Bot side sitting in a fairly similar position, right? This lane was going disastrously for Order. They have, with a couple of teleports and a couple of good return ganks, turned this one around.
Yeah, I mean, the damage out of CY, as you see right there, and Mboma can't really step forward into the Sivir. Paladin trying to apply some pressure, gets spotted by the ward. Harry going for the Death Sentence, just misses Mboma, and it looks like Emprox still want this fight. More hooks missing as Paladin makes himself known, not going to commit to this one.
And you kind of saw come to fruition what the Pyke Thresh matchup is. Like, if Thresh throws hook first, Pyke almost guaranteed, like, gets to rip you back, he gets to dodge with the E, kind of has more mobility because he doesn't pull himself to you, whereas, like, as Thresh does, he kind of has more room to play with and does kind of favor that Pyke, so kind of expect this one to play out as it is. Jungler rotating down, but the CC doesn't quite land. And Mboma and Artek are off vision. But it looks like the 2v2 is not going to be opted into. Just happy to farm up this way.
This is such a volatile bot lane. Just because the fact that each of these AD carries have been getting so much gold actually put into them. And, you know, they're sitting 4-1, 5-1. It's usually, when you see a scoreline like that, it's one bot lane just really running over the top of the other. But really, it feels like both have been steamrolling over
everybody
each other.
Walks bot, and everybody but the AD carries dies. They're just like sitting up in this stalemate. It's just like, you know what I mean? They rock up to like a fight, all their mates start scrapping it out, and they're just sitting there.
This tower still standing on 1 health. It has to be 1. Is that 1?
Can we click it?
Yeah, can we click it? See, 8.
8.
It's 8.
That's an auto attack.
That's a sneeze.
Single digit turret HP. That's a ranged minion auto attack.
Yeah.
You know, I clicked on a minion the other day. A melee minion at whatever point I did does 12 damage.
Okay. And it's true damage, isn't it?
So, is it?
I believe it is.
I don't believe so. I think it's physical.
Oh, I thought minions did true damage.
I actually have genuinely no idea. I've never considered that.
I'm pretty sure minions do true damage. I could be completely wrong, though. I'm used to being wrong, but I'm going to stick to my guns on this one and say it will do true damage, and if anyone touches that tower, it will die. This bot tower as well going to get quite low. Maybe not 8 HP low, but definitely another minion wave could bring it down. Paladin waiting in the wings, going to try and find a gank, steps forward, and just has his ultimate stolen in response. Yeah. Berserker not even going to bother.
Yeah, Aatrox walked all the way down, you see. Doesn't have trinkets available, so not much he can do in terms of vision control topside, but shows his face, fishes around for an opportunity, but not quite going to hit the mark. Hook. Almost lands at the Harry, but it's going to be their turret, so Uni kind of walks in mid lane, doesn't look for the 2 versus 2, but gets himself down bottom. They are able to turn this one around, so a disastrous start does get stabilized, and
uh-oh. Here comes Vans from above. That's a good chunk of damage onto Paladin, but Paladin wants to fight instead. Flash has been used to get that knockup, but there's really not a lot of oomph behind this Emprox squad. It doesn't matter, though, because ORA will find that kill. Live flashing into the wall. Don't want to do that. Still dropping Twin Fangs over the wall as Harry and Seaway come down from the bot lane. A good death sense on Berserker with the follow-up stun is there, and it looks like Emprox are going to use this to fight. JLKC super deep, but not going to be jumped on just yet. Hooked back into the team. A lot of damage from Mboma, and the follow-up knockup coming from Berserker means in comes the all-in. Emprox trying to do it. They get 1 kill onto Harry, but JLKC is healthy and gets one right back.
And a comedy of errors actually starts this playoff. A flash into the wall from Lived allows the turnaround. Hook from Harry.
Lived is just kind of walking right into this 2v1 and does not have that ultimate available, an easy shutdown, but Berserker's coming right back up, so it's another 1-for-1. Vance wants no part of this and will walk away.
This is the most confusing game of League of Legends I have ever witnessed. Just Lived. He just walks up mid lane. It's like, sup guys, I'm dead. And then JLKC, he just walks at the enemy. He doesn't have vision, but he knew they were there. He just wandered, had a little trek, little hike down the river, finds a couple of enemies and just...
How else do you expect a game that starts? What else do you expect from a fight that started with a fail flash to end?
Oh my lord!
What else do you expect from a game that doesn't have a support enter until 5.5 minutes into it?
Yeah.
This is one for the ages. This is OCS quarterfinals.
And the funniest thing is that like if you wanted to be a champion, to sit in this game of League of Legends, like Pyke is it. Who really yes. He kind of becomes super obnoxious as he get items. Like, he snowballs gold-wise incredibly. But when you think about, like, a snowballed support, you think of, like, Zyra is just tearing me to shreds. Or, like, Alistar is just literally unkillable. Pyke still does the same things, but his execute threshold is a little bit higher. So he's slightly more obnoxious, but doesn't realistically actually scale with items that well, right? Like, the playstyle still fits the bill in competitive. He still fulfills the same thing, so... Yes, he gets back super late. Now he's actually probably got more XP, but all he's looking for is a reset. And if he finds it,
Lived again looking for that Petrifying Glaze in 2v1, doesn't find anything yet, is still looking for it. Uni's going to come down. The damage is there to kill Seaway? Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, across the map, the top is where the action is. Another kill will get picked up right there by Uni, and here comes the tower dive. Teleport's coming in, but it doesn't matter. He's going super deep. Paladin gets another, but now is in a terrible position. Artek trying to catch up to his jungler, and here comes help as well from Mboma. Vans is the target. He's quite low as focus shifts over to Harry. Death sentence is not enough to buy time. Paladin gets another kill.
W.
Look at the tower dive in bot lane.
Karma.
There's a tower dive happening in bot lane as well right now, and there it is. Berserker gets the kill on the JLKC.
Oh my god, this is just a train wreck. Seaway dodged his own redemption, didn't get the heal, died to the poison tick of the Cassio, and Emprox just wiped them across the map. Berserker gets a solo kill underneath the bot turret. That turret's going to die. Gold lead now explodes to what's almost 4,000 here for Emprox, and this game started off wild, and it's not getting any less wild as it progresses.
Now, before this game, during our initial pause, you were saying how you tend to not even remember what happened game one.
I will remember this game.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think this is one that's going to stick in all of these players' minds for good or for bad, depending on who comes out on top.
Oh my god. Because, okay, like, I have no insight into League Ops.
Uh-oh, CY, who was on his own in mid lane. A good Lantern is not enough to make the save.
All right, Ignite's going to kill him. Look, CY, goodbye. But, like, so I have no insight. other than what I've been told, into like, okay, they're going to play the 4 versus 5, he's going to try reconnect and like get back into this game, right? As to whether order, because in the past, actually this is a longer conversation, Baron's going to be started.
Yeah, Baron has been started. We're nearing that 22-minute mark. Descent's not going to find it, and really, Order can't step up to contest, so Mprox get the Baron there, and they'll get away for free.
It's just free. Pick onto the 80 carry. Contest is just not going to be there, and now 5 members having Baron. They didn't even have to fight for it. Free pickup. They have the damage. Kai'Sa, no Muramana transform, but with the Guinsus, with the Cassio, they have all the damage they need. Purple Worm just gets shredded. Once again, it's an Infernal Mountain combination, and the team just takes Baron.
Yep. And so we're seeing some of these items now starting to come through for Mprox following the Baron. We have 3 items onto Mboma now. The Nashor's Tooth has been picked up. You have the stopwatch onto Paladin, so if he goes for another one of those crazy 2-tower dives, will be more likely to survive it. A lot of power spikes for the red side of the map with this Baron. They could be looking for that big game-ending fight, perhaps.
Yeah, certainly got to look for it. Next Dragon spawning soon, but Ocean Drake, probably a push with Baron. More eventful, and Mprox trying to set this one up. You can see Order lying in wait, looking to try to get themselves a pick. They have some very nice vision control bot side and just kind of hitting the S button. That was blind, just checking the bush, but hits Uni anyway.
And look at the damage it did. One Void Seeker doing about a third or a quarter of Uni's health.
Kai'Sa just went back, upgraded to Muramana, and also bought an outright Nash's Tooth.
That's horrifying, and she's already rejoined the rest of the team should a potential fight come through right now. A lot of pressure from the sidelines being employed by Mprox with the help of that Baron buff. You can see, you know, these are the solo lane matchups that they want. Paladin's actually roaming for a gank, but Uni is ready for the counterplay. Petrifying Gaze does not connect. Paladin turns around. Yes, the Cocoon landed, and there's a lot of damage. There is that stopwatch, though, coming out. Paladin, and a flash keeps him alive momentarily. Shutdown going to Order.
And did he just ult into stopwatch? I'm not sure I've seen that before, but they have just cancelled the own ulti coming through. Petrifying Gaze.
Petrifying Gaze does connect, and look at the damage from Liv. He's going for the 2v1. Yes, the repel will buy some time. In mid lane, Harry is able to find something there. That's actually Mboma who goes down, so that's a lot of damage from Mprox gone.
Yeah, but this entire time, fight bottom lane, fight mid lane means that Aatrox is just left alone.
Artok in trouble. He goes ahead and flashes into the box, but might be able to escape. The follow-up flash from Harry is there. Whoa. No execution, but Liv is able to turn it back around 1-for-1.
Cassio just cleans up 3 kills at the back end of this one, and as I was mentioning, Berserker left straight up alone with the Baron minions, makes short work of 2 turrets and an inhib. Lived is still in the same position he started the fight off in, pressuring this bottom tier 2 turret. This is...
It doesn't matter who's initially in the bot lane. It's everyone else who comes to bot lane who dies.
Whether it's the 80 carry, whether it's Cassio.
Because Vans was there initially as well. It was Lived and Vans in that bot lane. Everyone else shows up, everyone else dies, and it ends with Lived and Vans in that bot lane,
just
each on full health.
God damn, this is it. This is the one.
Yeah, this has been a very fun game for sure. One for the memory books, as the Ocean Dragon will be secured by Mprox. Really, that's actually 3 dragons going their way. Pretty good mix. You have the Infernal, you have the Ocean, you have the Mountain. Unfortunately, the Cloud isn't there to sort of complete Captain Planet this time around. It would have been fun to see. But at this stage, really, I don't feel Ocean Drake is doing too much just with how much fighting has been happening.
Absolutely not. Infernal Drake is doing them wonders, as it is just fights left, right, and center. You can see Mprox, the players to break this bottom lane turret. Now Baron is gone, but top turret and inhib being down by Berserker earlier means that way we'll just ultimately push in forever. Or at least for the next couple of minutes. You can see all 5 members looking to pressure the last remaining inner turrets, looking to break the entire ring. Berserker, 3 members on his screen, but that turret's going to drop anyway.
It is going to drop, but Harry is still going to step forward.
Dead
Sentence does connect. Vans has to run back towards him, and Berserker is doing so much work. The World Ender has been dropped as Artek has come to provide assistance to this Aatrox, who is still completely healthy. Big chunk of damage takes down Harry, and here comes Mprox, blasting right through Order. Already 3 members down. CY trying to do what he can. Gets the shutdown onto Berserker, but it may be too little too late. Mprox may have just won this game.
And a 1 versus 3. Berserker steps up. The team rotating over. Inhib will fall. Van's the last member remaining. Yep. 1 man and a Nexus is all that's alive here for Order.
Yeah, Mprox, though, they still have Liv, they still have Mboma. It's a tall order from Vans as the first Nexus Tower falls. So much damage onto the Karma, forces out the Flash. Second Nexus Tower falls, and with that, the Nexus will be soon after. Mprox going up 1-0. Here comes Harry, too little, too late. Mprox 1-0. Look at this smile. This is a genuine smile right now after a game like that.
What did I just watch? What? That was the wildest OCS game I was about to say played, I've ever cast, I've ever watched, I've ever seen. That's probably the wildest competitive game of League of Legends I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That, like, you can tell that the reconnect, disconnect scenario, like, completely rattled everyone.
Yes.
Like, that wasn't, like, clean. That word doesn't exist. Like, and not even, like, hating on the teams, right? Like, coming out all of a sudden, Order in what started to be a 4 versus 5, they're on match point next game, which is a disastrous situation, but that rattled everyone.
Well, it's the kind of thing where I feel like you always hear about, like, you know, oh, in scrims, these teams aren't afraid to do anything. Like, they'll just go all out because it's a scrim, and then, like, the personal game, they play more reserve. This is, in my mind, what these scrims look like that we always hear about. Just pure slamming into each other for, like, no reason. And
I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm not about just sitting on this desk and shitting on people.
No, I'm not either. I'm saying
that like, that wasn't like, oh man, they were so aggressive. That was like, I'm going to flash into this wall real quick, then get hooked and die. But like, my Aatrox is going to 1v9 the back line. It's like, hey guys, 1v2, by the way. Let's walk up, hook miss, flame miss. Oh god, I'm dead. Like, what? I'm actually in disbelief. That is crazy. Because the conversation that I was going to start, right? Like, I have, once again, like, no insight into League Ops as to, like, what the decision, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if Order, like, were given a choice. Back, like, when I've been in those situations where, like, Chrono Break, like, a bug happens that's significant, and it's like, do you want to remake, is the question. Like, because there's a chance that, like, something happens, but it's not bad enough because you feel like you're in a good enough situation to win it anyway. Because now, like, Order are just, like, if they were given the choice and they lose 2-0 to Mprox now, coming out with momentum like that, that is a choice that haunts you. You make it to quarterfinals, it's like, oh, like, yeah, we'll let them play 4v5. Reconnects 5 minutes in, is resetting with like a Duskblade at endgame team fights. That is...
Yeah, he came in at 5.5 minutes, and I think he had Moby Boots at 8.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, all right, we're ready to go. Is this the new meta? Do we just sit support and Fountain for 5 minutes and then have him come in? And
Solo lane Kai'Sa absolutely comes up trumps there for Mprox, and they get themselves a victory. It was a wild one, but a victory nonetheless. So that is going to be a 1-0 scoreline heading into a potential last game of the quarterfinals. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 5 minutes.